Welcome to another edition of Cleaner Corner. Today we are blessed with Mary Ann Sullivan.
Thank you, Jen.
Mary Ann, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to have some fun. What we've been starting off with is asking folks to tell us a little bit about who Mary Ann was prior to real estate. What were you like before you even thought about real estate?
I grew up in Chicago. My father was a judge in Cook County, and I went to the most wonderful girls' Catholic high school, Trinity High School, where they taught you could do anything. Girls can do anything. And this probably wasn't a popular thing at the time, but they instilled that in us, that there was nothing that we couldn't do. And I then went to Northwestern University for dental hygiene and got a Bachelor of Science degree from Marquette. But while I was at Northwestern, I met my husband, who was in dental school. So that was our life, moving to the suburbs, opening a dental practice, 3 kids. So my whole life was the kids and teeth. And it got to be, I would say, my midlife crisis when I thought, the kids are going to go off to college and we are going to spend 24 hours a day together. And I thought, I've got to do something different. I don't know what, but it's going to be different. And I walked down the street and I saw a sign that said, take real estate classes. And I thought, it's a sign from God.
A literal sign.
I should take a real estate class. I'm not particularly good in math. I don't have a good sense of direction. I thought, that's the career for me. So I went to take real estate classes.
So going back a little bit, you mentioned that your dad was a judge.
Yes.
So what was it like growing up having a father as a judge?
Well, he was an Irish sense of humor, so he was a terrific person. So his judge mentality was not his home mentality. So it was always good.
So do you think you get a little bit of your sense of humor from your father?
Oh, yeah. Definitely, definitely.
And you said that your school instilled that women are able to do anything.
Yes, yes.
So that's very important to you.
Oh, it was, definitely, because I think it didn't put a limit on anyone's intelligence or education. It was, be the best you could be. And
then you use that to go into the world of dentistry.
Right.
So I know a long time ago I used to DJ weddings, and when I'm at a wedding, I'll be evaluating the DJ as to, they played Brown Eyed Girl way too early. When you meet someone, are you like, those incisors, those are...
It's so funny, because sometimes I can't remember somebody's face, but I can remember their teeth. I know that's...
Really? Maybe you should go into forensics after this. So you got a sign from God to start taking real estate courses.
Yes.
And you were drawn to John Green.
Yes.
So what is it that you appreciate about it? Because you haven't worked anywhere else, right?
No, I never interviewed anywhere else. It was strictly John Green, and John Green from the beginning. I think from the moment I met the people here, everyone was smart, but they were kind, and they helped you to learn about real estate. You felt like you were trained enough in the beginning that you were confident to go out and do it.
So what have you seen change from when you started to where things are today?
I mean, the whole industry really has changed. When I started, there was no such thing as a buyer's broker. Everybody was really an agent of the seller. So I could remember that coming in when all of a sudden you always had your loyalty to the person you were working with, yet in theory you were really working for the seller, and you had to let people know that. It was almost easier when you were able to just say, okay, this is you could never even say the words my buyer, because they really weren't your buyer. So now you could say, this is my buyer, I'm working with this person, this is where my loyalty is to.
So when they did do that shift, was there also a mental shift with that as well? Was that easy to navigate?
I think it was. I think it was harder for the people who had been in real estate longer to do that than some of us who were newer at the time. when I started in the beginning, it was the first time people were getting listings from a computer, from a printout. I mean, it was before that, it was just in a book. People looked at it. You figured out where you were going to go. So there were so many changes just at the time I was starting in 1989. So I think you just kind of naturally went with the flow, because you did feel like you were working with the buyer when you had been taking them to see all these homes, and you know their whole family, their whole history. You know, I think it just was more of a natural thing. It had started, I think, in California, then worked its way here.
So you've seen a lot of changes in the realm of technology as well.
Oh my gosh, and of course for us who are older, that's some of the hardest part, to watch all you people who do nothing but text, and you know, everything's done online.
But yet you still have great success today, so technology isn't the reason for that. What do you think is the reason for why you've had the success that you've had in real estate?
I think part of it is you just are honest with people, and you put them first, and they know you're working for them. And then at the end of the transaction, keep in contact with them. And then maybe years down the road, if they decide they're going to sell that house and move on to something else, at least they know they've had an experience with you that they could trust what you were saying. So I think that's the basic thing, to put your clients first.
So in what ways have you kept in contact with clients after the sale?
So you've got to realize, I started out selling, there was no such thing as a contact program over the internet, because it really wasn't. You know, we weren't doing things. There wasn't most people didn't have an email. I still have clients now that I keep in contact with, but I don't even know what their email is. Wow. So I would say I started a program where I sent them posts. I kept in contact with all my past clients that I had sold something to who stayed locally, and I would send them a postcard. And it didn't have to say very much, but it was just a program that sent them a postcard every month. I listed a house and put it on the market yesterday. I sold it to them 29 years ago.
Oh, wow.
The only problem was I thought, well, I'm going to have to go up to their front door now, and will we recognize one another?
Did they make any changes since in 29 years? Or?
Their house was beautiful as ever, and they had done wonderful updating. We all looked a little older, let's just say.
So, with clients like that, obviously you're excited to work with them again.
Yes.
What are some of the attributes of like your ideal client?
I don't know if I have an ideal client, because I almost look at every client, hopefully it's someone that listens to you, but I almost look at it as puzzle solving. I listen to what the client has to say, so it doesn't really have to be my ideal. I'm listening to what they say, and then I try to look at the market, see what's out there, and try to see what fits for them. And I think you try to listen to them, but also sometimes you have to, if you see people that are looking at something and maybe they're swayed by something that you don't think is the greatest thing, point out the negatives of the house. Do you mean, even if they end up buying that house, when they come back to you and you'll say, well, remember, it's going to take a little bit longer to sell because you're next to this busy road. At least it's something they said, oh yeah, you told us that when we bought the house, you know.
Has there been experiences like that? Or?
Yeah, do you mean, just though if that's the house that's right for them and you help them buy it, just admit, down the line, the positives of the house and also the negatives of the house.
So I imagine they appreciate the honesty that you
Oh
bring.
yeah, I think that's the whole thing. They know they're going to get an honest opinion from you.
So we asked you a while back, if you were starting out or if you were to give advice to new agents, and you had a very concise, perfect saying, and I don't know if we're able to get this, but it's get up, dress up, show up. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, I'm sure it's not original. I must have heard it someplace else. But at the same time, I think it's good, especially if you're starting, go into the office. I mean, you learn so much just listening to the other people around you. At the same time, when you do get up, dress up somewhat. I mean, it's your profession now. You don't want to look like just somebody else walking down the street. Try to at least look somewhat professional. but also I think show up at the office and learn from the people around you. You've got a great teacher in TG. You really know the basics when you get here. My whole first year, it was just listening to the conversations of the people around me, talking to their buyers and sellers on the phone. And I would say, oh my gosh, I would just write stuff down. So then their dialogue became my dialogue. You just sound more professional, and you end up knowing what to say to people.
So going back to the dress-up aspect, why do you feel that's important?
I think you represent yourself and you represent John Green. So I think it is important. And I do think even when you go to sporting events or some of your kids' things, try to look somewhat put together, to make a positive reflection on your profession, because I do think it's a profession.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So obviously get up is important, and a lot of agents have talked about having some sort of like morning routine or something like that, or some sort of structure to their day. Is that something that you incorporate as well?
Somewhat. Do you mean I am sometimes more of a night person than I am a morning person? So at least I'll try to do a little modified yoga stuff in the morning, watch my news on television, have my coffee, and then think about what you're going to do for the day. But I don't have anything where I have to say, you've got to do all these things and call 15 people before 10 o'clock. No, Jimmy, no. I just go with the flow.
So it sounds like the secret to your success is essentially being honest with your clients and treating them kindly and staying in contact with them.
And I think part of it is be yourself. I mean, you really can't be anybody else. So just be comfortable with yourself. And I got to say, the main thing is enjoy yourself. I mean, this has got to be better than whatever job you had before. I mean, the people that you're meeting are fun. The people at John Green are fun. Just relax and enjoy yourself. And the other thing is, sometimes don't take yourself too seriously. And I would say when people are doing well in this business, sometimes you can almost see an attitude change in them, where you can see that they all of a sudden don't start thinking you're too great when it's going well. Conversely, don't get too down on yourself when you go through a slump. Everybody, the market is up and down. You as an individual agent sometimes go through your own personal ups and downs and the amount of business you're doing. So I think don't be too thinking you're too hot and great when it's going well, but also really don't get too down on yourself when you go through a slump. Just remember, keep doing the same things, keep working, and you'll get out of it.
So what do you feel is the detriment to feeling too high and mighty or feeling too down on yourself?
I don't know if there's such a detriment to feeling too high and mighty. It's good. Actually, it's kind of fun to see people who come in and you can tell they're nervous and they're just starting to do it. And it's almost to see them blossom when you can tell they're doing well and getting some success and see their own confidence. But I mean, on your own level, just don't go, this is really good, I'm really great. Just realize, take it with a grain of salt, that, try to even it out, because that helps you even it out when you are thinking it's the dumps and I can't do anything right.
Okay. Has there been anything that has personally taken you out of any like slumps that you might have had?
I can't think that there's anything I particularly did, but I think mentally, just to know you get through it. But you just have to do the same work that you've always done, keep in contact with the people, keep up with the market, watch what's coming on every day, and you'll eventually just get out of it.
So you and I, we talk a lot about like our favorite shows and what we're watching and things like that. Is there anything that you're really engrossed with right now, or anything that you're
My
enjoying?
shows? Yeah. Oh, it's the best. Have you seen The Bear?
Yeah, on FX with about Chicago.
Yes, it's a Chicago restaurant, and I'm not such a foodie, and I know you love even I, watching the food preparation and all the stuff that's going on, it's terrific. And the fact that it's so Chicago is great, because I'm a Chicago girl, so I love it. Yeah.
So The Bear on Hulu.
The Bear.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can binge the whole thing, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it doesn't take that long. It took me a few days, but it was good. Yeah,
Okay.
Definitely. And you've got to give me a new one.
All right, I'll have
Okay,
to think about what we're watching right now.
Okay, all right. John is my go-to guy. I'll come in. What are you watching?
It's always,
You,
yeah.
I don't know about the Squid Game that you got me into, John. That was a
Yeah,
little.
that was, hey, that was a, that was a shot in the dark.
But I watched the whole thing, so.
You did? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Season 2's coming. I got another one for you. So is there so let's say you're flipping through the channels and a movie comes on television and you're like, I've seen it a million times, but I got to stop and watch this one. This is fantastic.
Okay, well, being Irish, it has to be The Quiet Man.
John
Yeah,
Wayne and-
Maureen,
yeah.
Maureen O'Hara, yes, and the music. And Ashford Castle is where it was filmed, part of it. And my husband and I had the wonderful opportunity of staying there. So, yeah, it
Oh,
brings back a
wow.
lot of good memories.
Okay, well now I have to rewatch
Okay.
that. And see, now I have a little bit of background on
Okay.
that. Is there a skill or trait that you don't currently possess that you've always wished that you had?
I would say, basically, I think I'm organized, but I think just to get all the techie things with Facebook and things like that. And at this point, I don't know if it's that ship has sailed, but I do envy the people who do so much, and it's just I'm, out there on Facebook and all the different apps that they use.
Oh, we'll set up some appointments with the marketing
Okay.
team and with Carrie and yeah. So do you think there is something about you that those that share the walls of John Green doesn't know about you? Something that we go, oh wow, I didn't know that about Marianne.
I'm pretty open person. I would say, maybe just how much I really love my kids and love what they're doing and love my grandkids, and I think I'm a lucky person. Yeah.
I think you are too. And I think
Okay.
we're lucky to have you a part of John Green. Thank you for
John.
sitting with us.
Okay.